Hey y'all, my name's Kayla Wood and I'm a member of residential staff here and one of our interns, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my own testimony, both because of what Brian talked about yesterday, but also probably more importantly because yesterday was National Coming Out Day, and I think that it's really important for the church to understand who its members look like, and I know when I was growing up that's something I never really got to experience. I grew up completely in the church. I was actually baptized just over a month of being born. I think it was a month and 6 days, but point of it being very quickly. My family wanted to make sure I was fully immersed into that church. And my grandfather on my dad's side was actually a pastor too in a non-denominational church. So I grew up with him in my life and a whole family that was fully committed to Christ and fully committed to the gospel. And it got to the point where church and Sunday school and dinners were a part of my week, and it just tended to be going through the motions of the week. And about when I was in middle school is when I started to realize that the reason it was kind of just going through the motion for me was that I wasn't being honest with myself. And I didn't quite feel like I was myself at church. And I couldn't quite put a finger on it until I was a little bit older, but I realized it was because I knew a part of me wasn't accepted by the church. And instead of really dealing with any of that, I just decided to completely ignore it, run away from it, and threw myself into everything I could at church. I got super involved in my youth group. I was confirmed a year after I joined youth group. I actually started working at my church, doing some sound gigs. And I ended up joining my church's finance committee my junior and senior year of high school for no other purpose other than wanting to feel as part of the church as I could. And I really just wanted to throw myself into the church because I think I knew deep down that there were a lot of people in my life and a lot of people in the church that if they knew that part about me, they wouldn't accept me in the church anymore. But I didn't actually say it out loud until my senior year of high school when I came out to my best friend at the time and slowly throughout the last couple of days told my family and my friends, and it felt like a huge weight had just been lifted off my shoulders. And after I had said it out loud is when I realized that that wasn't the entirety of my story. That wasn't the only part about me. It wasn't the most important thing about me. My sexuality was not my sole identity. And that God wasn't done working in my life just because I now felt comfortable with myself. Over the next 2 years, I actually started to realize that God threw me into the church for a reason. It wasn't just as a distraction. It wasn't just to keep me busy. It was that way I could see all the ways that the church had hurt me, and that I could use those experiences to make sure the church didn't hurt anybody else if I could help it. And 2 summers ago is when I actually put that call into practice, or put it into words again. I was serving my second summer on team at Warren Mills Camp, and I felt the closest you could call to a God moment. I felt like the whole world was sitting in my stomach, and I just broke down and cried. And if you ever met me, it's not something I do in public. I actually disdain it. Absolutely hate showing emotions in public, but I just couldn't help it. And it got to the point where I ran out of the chapel, ran to the dock, and just started screaming pretty unkind language at God because I just didn't understand the situation he was putting me in. But then I did. And it was that I wanted to be the change of the church for others. In Acts, Peter talks about what we should be doing with people who aren't in the church, or people that have been burned by the church. And he says in Acts 11 that if God gives them the same gifts that he gives us who believe in Christ, then who are we to stand in the way of God? And that's what I had been doing for a long time in my life. I had been refusing to acknowledge a part of me, refusing to acknowledge that I was different, and I put myself in the way of what God wanted me to be. And it wasn't until I was honest with myself, that I was honest with who I was, and honest with the reasons that I was involved with church, that I was able to see what God wanted in my life. Over the last year, I've been able to put that into practice, going through the official candidacy process of the United Methodist Church. And my hope is one day that I could be that voice for people that look a little bit like me, that feel a little bit like me, that feel those same things about church, and make sure that they always know that they're loved, they're welcome, they're included, and no one's going to stand in God's way for them. So I hope that this made sense and that you also enjoyed it, and hopefully that you can see those people in your life in church too, that have made you feel welcome and included, and that you can point to those individuals and know that that was God in your life. I also hope that you can understand your own testimony and see where God has been able to help you, and that you can reflect on that a little bit this week. I'll see you guys at Wednesday night dinner, and hopefully you'll catch us Sunday night again when we show our worship moments.